Hello, everyone. I forgot what we said.
Welcome to
To Labra. Okay. It's making me nervous. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lab Report, where we live, love, lab.
Today, we are talking about a very special time of year that we are all dealing with right now. Whether you're a student studying or you're a professor grading, it is final season. And regardless of what side you're on, it's a lot of work, a lot of stress, and I'm sure you guys are lacking a lot of sleep. So today we're just going to talk about the ways that we deal with stress and time management and scheduling things around this time. Obviously, what works for us may not work for you, but we just want to give you some ideas if you're starting from scratch or want to change things up. So yeah, would you like to?
Yeah, also, I guess I think this will be one of our more or less STEM-focused podcasts because kind of what we want to get across is these are very hard times and it's really easy to get lost in it and to get lost, to lose track of time. And yeah, I mean, I always say, like, I'm a different person during final season. Like, I'm a different person. Everyone knows that. I've learned now that I have to take an extra day before I leave to go home. So, like, I'll have my last final and then I'll have a full day without anything and then I'll go home after that because, like, I need a day to, like, go back to myself before I see my family. So we're just here to remind you not to just work, grind, because it's a long time, and final season isn't just when finals start and when they end. No, it's even like it's from Thanksgiving break or like to when finals end because a lot of classes want to get their essays in before finals start, or you have other lab classes. You always have lab exams that aren't during finals.
Yeah, it's way ahead.
And yeah, so it never works if you just wake up or don't even wake up, just like study,
Non-stop.
don't sleep, energy drinks, shitty food, no sleep, study, energy drinks, shitty food. Like, you can really, it becomes a cycle and you really can get lost in it. And it's hard, but it's really easy to prioritize other things during this time too, and to make time for yourself and your friends. As cliche and as cringy as it sounds, and as much as I'm rolling my eyes at myself right now saying this, it is really like the only way to get through it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're human, you're not a machine. And maybe you were able to pull off like a overnight or like 12-hour straight study session once before, but it's not sustainable, especially if you're having the time stretch that Sophia said, like starting Thanksgiving all the way until like mid-December. You're not going to make it to mid-December. Yeah, you're not going to make it to late December doing that, being completely realistic. Which is why it's so important, like as Sophia said, to schedule in times where you like hang out with friends, maybe go get dinner, take a break, watch a movie. If you're old enough, have a little wine night with dinner. I know Sophia just treated herself to something to kind of help her get through the weeks. It sounds so suspicious. Sophia treated herself to something, actually.
Okay, yeah, so I did. I got myself a little treat the other day after I finished grading my lab notebooks for my Gen Bio class. And me and my roommate went to the manga store that's in the underground market of like Columbus Circle. And I haven't really spent that much time there, to be honest, which
It's
is kind
nice,
of crazy.
though.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It actually reminds me a bit of Moscow. Like, I walked through it with Maria, my sister. This is such a sidetrack, but a couple days ago, and we both were like, wow, like, this kind of does remind us of Moscow because, you know, it's so cold and shit. There's all of these, like, underground malls.
Right.
And connecting to the subway station, so it was fun. But I went to this manga store, and I really love manga. I haven't bought any recently because it's just like really expensive and it's not sustainable, to be honest. Like, I'm a big reader too, and manga's more expensive, and you'll finish a manga in like
It's
30
quick.
minutes,
Right.
you know. But I still went and I got myself Frankenstein, but by Junji Ito, who Talia also knows and likes, is a very famous, if you don't know, he's a very famous horror manga author, and I've been wanting to like read his work for a while, but again, I just could never really justify buying. I just never got around to it, and I could never really buy it. But he made like Frankenstein, and I love Frankenstein. I love Mary Shelley. I love Mary Wollstonecraft. All the Marys, all the British authors, to be honest, women authors. And I wrote like a really huge essay about Frankenstein in high school. So it's two passions of mine in one. And I went and treated myself. And I'm also like, as Talia said, I'm going to be reading it during final season, and that's going to be like my little break too. Instead of procrastinating and sitting on TikTok, I'm also really trying to watch less TikTok, which that hasn't really been working for me. But if I'm procrastinating, I want it to be in a different way.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's so
I will
fair.
be reading my Frankenstein manga.
So healthy. Round of applause for Sophia.
Yay.
I have been taking my weekends very easy. Usually I'm the kind of person where like I like to go out every once in a while because I like to dance and I like to meet people, and that's like my outlet. But I've really tried to prioritize sleeping and resting my whole body since I'm exerting it so much during the week. So these past few weekends, I make sure I have at least one day where my roommates sit down, eat dinner together, and then we watch a movie. And maybe
what
one of us will
movie?
like bake something.
What
and
movie
like
did you watch recently?
none of my roommates saw Shawshank Redemption, so I made them watch that. You haven't seen that either?
No,
It's like a
I
classic.
know it is. And I haven't watched
Crazy.
what's it, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air either.
I haven't seen that either, and
okay.
that's really controversial for me. Like I should have seen that. I might have to edit that out. But then we also watched Shutter Island, which was crazy. Have you seen Shutter Island?
No.
It's so good. It's like I think you'd really like it.
Oh, really?
It's crazy. I would watch it again.
Okay.
Maybe we could watch it together.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a little dinner and movie night.
Exactly. Which I highly recommend Shutter Island. Also, if you're interested in the Junji Ito work, Netflix should have like a short horror like collection of a lot of his best work. I'm pretty sure I saw they had something for a while. But yeah, do the things you love to do and make sure there are things that don't further exert you. Like reading, staying in, those are things that help replenish your body. Another thing I will add on top of that too. Wait, were you gonna?
Oh yeah, well, I was also gonna say like if you want to go out, I also don't think like final season should be like don't go out, like don't do anything true. You know, things that you would normally enjoy. Like no, I mean don't go out every night and then you're gonna get a bad grade. But if going out is something that helps you feel better and, you know, like replenishes you and is an outlet for you, like schedule a night out, you know, plan your days out in a way that you have a good study day, you get a lot of stuff out, and then you can enjoy the nighttime. You know what I mean? Like it's all about figuring out your finals early on. I really recommend like honestly before Thanksgiving even, because I did it for Thanksgiving this year, but like writing out when you have all of your big deadlines. And then it's kind of like those numbers, the dates, they stick in your mind. So, you know, I'm a big planner too, you know, so like plan out your weekends, plan out days if you want to go out. Like I kind of stupidly planned myself a weekend with a couple of social things. And now I'm like, oh my God, like I have so much work. I didn't even realize like our first exams is in exactly a week. I haven't even started studying or writing that paper, to be honest, which is so bad. But Yeah, I'll be fine, and also I would be so much more miserable, and I also know myself, do worse if all of this weekend and all of next week all I did was study for these exams and didn't get to see some of my friends for the last time before break, or go watch the Wicked movie or something like that. You know, like, I want to do that. That's fun.
Yeah. So I completely agree with that. And I guess something to kind of double down on that, regardless of how you relax, whether it's spending time alone, spending time in, or like going out every once in a while, socializing, um, doing stuff like that. A very important thing is making sure when you're in these spaces, you're fully present, not just physically, but mentally. I recently met with a life coach.
Oh my God, wait, Tully, we haven't
I
even
know,
talked
I never
about
told you
that.
about that. But
Holy shit.
she is a life coach who specializes.
Wait, did you meet with her on purpose?
Oh yeah, it's part of the program I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm in a program that like does a lot of like mentorship and prep work for like med school applications and stuff like that. And one of the activities they do is they set you up with a life coach because they understand that a lot of the people in the program are these like super high achievers who don't really know how to relax and like overbook themselves and try to take on a lot, because naturally if you're going into like the med school sphere, it kind of encourages that kind of mentality and activity in a lot of people. So I met with this life coach, and she was looking at my schedule, and she was like, when you sent this to me, I was very scared because I don't see any time for yourself. And I was like, oh, I pencil people in. I get lunch with my dad on Thursdays, and I see my friends, and I do stuff at night and early in the morning. And she was like, okay, and how do you feel when you do those things? And I said, oh, it's good. It's a little bit of time away from stuff. And she was like, but do you feel like you're actually present, or do you feel like your mind is elsewhere? Because it seems like when you're so busy in this way, you're kind of training your mind to constantly be thinking, okay, what's next? What else can I be doing with my time? And it's possible that when you're in these times where you should be grounded and really taking in the time that you're spending away from your work and spending time on yourself, your mind's not allowing you to do that because you're thinking, what's next? What else do I have to do? And I was like, oh, shoot. You're right. That's why I don't feel relaxed after all of these relaxing moments, because my mind isn't relaxing. And I feel like it's very easy to fall into those bad habits, especially when you have things like deadlines and exams kind of looming over you. So it's really important when you schedule these times for yourself to spend time with friends and relax and read and watch movies and stuff like that. You practice mindfulness, and before you, I know I sound like I sound like a guidance counselor or something. I know, but it's true.
No, it's true. I know it is.
Like,
I'm not laughing at
it's such
that.
a corny thing to say, but like,
You practice mindfulness. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm laughing at myself, but you'd be surprised where if you're not aware of the fact that your mind isn't present, like you could spend a whole hour with your friends and not even have relaxed the whole time because you were like deep down in the back of your mind thinking, okay, after this I have to go write an essay. Or after this, I have to go study.
You know what this is like? Mm-hmm. It's like when your friend is, or someone's in a relationship with a toxic person. You know what I mean? Because like you can never truly be relaxed.
Oh, that's a crazy comparison.
You can never truly, because you were saying that, and it was just making me think about like, oh, people in toxic relationships also feel that way when they're with their friends or doing things that like should be for themselves or to relax. They're always like, oh my god, what if my toxic partner like gets mad at me, or like I have to be texting my toxic partner?
Just like the hyper awareness.
Exactly.
Your exams are a toxic partner.
Exactly.
They are the toxic partner that's looming over you and in your mind constantly. And you need to make sure when you have these moments for yourself, you're not just physically having these moments where your body's decompressing, your mind needs to decompress too. So if you can take a couple minutes before you go to these events and just like be and really like sit with yourself and like prep your brain and say, okay, in this moment, I'm not going to think about my exams. I'm not going to think about the work I have to do. I'm just going to be here with my friends. Maybe do breathing exercises, maybe meditate a little bit to really ground yourself and center yourself. Not only is that going to help you enjoy those moments more, but it's also going to help with burnout. Because a big part of burnout is not just the physical exertion, it's also the mental exertion. So if you allow your mind to catch up with your body in these breaks, then you're going to be able to make it all the way from Thanksgiving to late December.
Yeah. And exams are just tough. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm super anti-finals as a whole, and I'm not anti-exams or tests. You know, I think they're necessary and they're a great way to showcase how much you've learned. They're a great challenge for students. But the whole idea of like final exams, especially at
That's fair.
universities, like I really, really detest it. And I think a lot of teachers do as well and agree with me, but it's kind of like no one, I mean, it's just been the way things have been done for so long that why is anyone going to change it? And, you know, it is just easy. You know what I mean? It's easy to have a final assessment in every class, and it's easier for the teachers, it's easier for the students too, it's easier to determine your grade. But yeah, it's just like a crazy amount of stress packed into 2 weeks. And especially because everyone's stressed, you literally start to feel like it's life or death. I know I sound dramatic, but like
But it feels
last
like
year, last year when we took neuro and orgo at the same time, I had my exams. It was like neuro at 9 a.m., then orgo the next day, and then psych the same day for me as orgo. And then I had also, like, my core classes were not easy that semester either. And neuro was and I also hate pulling all-nighters, but, like, I pulled an all-nighter for the 2 all-nighters in a row, and I don't even know how I did it. I, like, lived at school. It was so gross. I was really, like, ugh, it was so gross. I mean, and all I was doing was studying for these exams and eating tater tots from Ramcaf or getting Dunkin' or I would get those like giant, oh my God, I would get those like giant bags of powdered mini donuts and just like eat them because, you know, there's like so many of them in one bag. And then that would fuck me up even more because not only am I stressed and not sleeping, but I'm eating like this really random shitty food and it's messing my stomach up and it's not making me hungry, but then it's making my stomach hurt. And then after those 2 days, I couldn't really eat anything for a day and I was eating bread. Like I was walking around with like a loaf of bread from Bread's Bakery. Eating it. And then I went to because I was like, I have to eat, but I don't know what else to eat. And I went to my psych exam and I sat with my friend in the bathroom before it, and she was like, oh my God, like, you need to sleep. And I hadn't even told her anything about, like, we were just, like, chatting about random stuff. And I was like, really? Like, why do you say that? Like, I hadn't complained about my exams or anything, but she was like, you cannot sit still. Like, you are shaking right now, and you're walking around with a loaf of bread. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my God, like, and in that moment, I, like, saw myself, like, from, like, have been at school for 2 days, 2 nights, walking around with a loaf of bread, like, in my literal pajamas, and I don't wear my pajamas or, like, sweatpants normally, too, and I was just like, it's horrible, it really can get to you, but, like, it's really important to just take a walk, go get like, it can be anything, it can be literally anything, it doesn't have to be an actual activity, but it's like something that actually does relax you or fuel you, you know? Whether it's like going to actually get like decent food or going for a walk and getting some fresh air or, you know, reading and exercising your mind in a different way, painting, whatever it is, it's just like seriously like take those breaks.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm laughing, but I see you. I had a moment where all I'd eat was pudding cups.
Yeah.
And like fruit cups.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
it feels like every final season there's like one type of food or like one random thing
You just
you
hyper
just
fixate
exactly.
on. No, I
Yeah.
had the same thing. It's always like a really easy, like,
Mhm.
yeah.
So much sugar usually.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just really messes your stomach up because it's like you don't want to eat because you're kind of full, but also you're not full at all
It's
because you
like the
haven't
stress.
you
Yeah.
haven't eaten like real food, and then you're stressed on top of it. And at least when I'm stressed, like I don't want to eat really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, seriously take those moments. Finals are not fun,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not the end of the world. And of course, study and do the best you can, but also know it's not you. You know, like there have been finals where I've probably studied the most in my life and I've done awfully on. And there were finals where I studied like a lot and I did really well on. And then there are finals that I didn't study that well for and I did really well on. And then there are finals that I didn't study that much for and I did badly on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there isn't one outcome more than the other when it comes to finals. Like when it comes to midterms or regular exams, if like the amount I study usually correlates with how well I do. But with
Yeah.
finals, it really doesn't. Like it's kind of a gamble, you know what I mean? Like you just don't know.
It's very true. Yeah, I echo that
Yeah.
heavily. Like, don't, however it goes, as long as you put in the best work you can, don't think it's a reflection of you if it doesn't turn out
Exactly.
how you want it to turn out. Also, another thing to touch back on what we were talking about before, make sure you check in with yourself a lot. If you know there are habits that are usually indicative of you slipping into a very like unhealthy or stressed out state, learn to recognize those and try to like take a moment when you notice those. Like the whole like putting fruit cup situation. The moment I like sense myself getting back into that, I'm like, all right, let's let's take a second. Or like another thing I've realized I do is I sleep talk a lot when I'm really stressed. And even like the other night, my roommates were like, "Bro, you were arguing with us about playing Uno in your sleep the other night." And I was like, "Okay, that's a sign I need to decompress and maybe slow down a little bit this final season."
Wait, did you saying that completely? Okay, I completely forgot this even happened,
Mm-hmm.
but I also don't usually sleep talk, and I will sleep talk like if I'm really like half asleep or really stressed about something.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, my sister came to visit for Thanksgiving for 2 days, and um in the middle of the night, and I even like I kind of remember this happening but not really, but I was like half awake and I could sense that she was also kind of awake and like moving, and that was like stressing me out because I think I was already thinking about finals or this presentation or something. And all of a sudden like I just like go like, Maria, I already took the dogs out. And I just like exclaim. It's like,
It's the most random
and
thing.
she's like, okay,
Always.
we don't have dogs. Like, I don't remember dreaming about dogs. But, like, I was so stressed that I was like, I did it already, okay?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Pick up on those things and make sure you take the signs when they're given to you because it's your body trying to tell you need to slow down and take some time for yourself.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know. As I said, finals can always go either way. And I even remember for the Orgo final last year. See, this is what I mean is for because we had neuro and Orgo first semester, I just physically couldn't study for Orgo that much because I had neuro the day before.
Mm-hmm.
But for second semester, we actually had more time, and I started like really early, and I was so good about it, and I studied so much. I went into that exam so confident. It was the worst I did all semester. The exam I studied the most for was the worst I did. And then I talked to Dr. DeGrande about it, and I was just like, I just don't understand. Like, I studied so much. It's the one I did the worst on all of this stuff. And he was like, I don't know what to tell you because I was the same way. Like, I would always be at an A and then take my final exam, and my grade would drop like 2 letter grades. And he was like, it makes me think of this physicist, or he told me some story of some super smart guy, and they asked someone, he was giving an interview, and someone asked them a question like, why are there 4 seasons? Like, why do we have 4 seasons? And Dr. Shigardi looked at me as if, like, the answer is obvious. And then I was like, what?
It's not obvious. I'm like, why?
Yeah. I think it's like, fuck, what is it? It's like, because we rotate around the sun.
Oh, I thought it was going to be some symbolic,
No,
like,
it's
metaphorical.
not. No, it's just like we rotate around the sun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were about to, like, speak some, like,
no.
We have 4 seasons because you get 4
No, but
tries.
that's what I'm saying, is, like, the physicist tried to, like, started explaining it in this super complicated way, but then people are like, it's just because, like, we rotate around it takes, like, 1 year for us to fully rotate around wait, why am I saying we rotate around the sun? We have to cut this out. Tolly, we have to cut this out. Wait, but don't we rotate around the sun?
We do. We orbit. It's orbit. We rotate on an axis. We orbit the sun.
Okay, oh my god.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're right.
For a second, I was like, we don't. It's around the moon.
Oh, that's bad. That's a bad part.
But whatever, gosh. It's because we orbit around the sun and we have 4 seasons, but the physicist was basically trying to make this super convoluted answer, and people were like, it's just because we orbit around the sun, and Dr. DeGrande was basically trying to say that and that's what my biochemistry professor said too, so I guess it's just a problem for me, but that I, like, overcomplicate the material for myself, or I make it harder for myself than it actually is. But I'm like, I don't understand, because it's hard. It's
true, though. Like, I feel like that's such a common and easy to do thing, especially when you're in a field that encourages you to really think about, like, every aspect of everything and be so detail-oriented.
But
like,
everyone says that to me, and I'm like, okay, well, then tell me how to uncomplicate it if I'm overcomplicating.
I think it's just, like, it's the same thing of how, I don't know if you had this experience, but, like, in middle school, they were like, you're going to have to write really short essays, so learn to keep your ideas succinct.
Have that experience.
And then, in my middle school, they would always say, when you get to college, you're going to be writing really short essays, so learn to keep your ideas succinct. And now, literally a week from now, I have 3 10-page essays due, and I have an issue where I have to keep elaborating because I was taught to keep my ideas succinct. And I think it's just a battle because it's like you're trained to think one way for certain disciplines or certain times in your life, and then you're challenged to negate that later on. And it's hard when you've been conditioned to think like that for so long to just go back on it. Like, it's easier said than done to be like, oh, just stop overthinking it. But if you've been taught that overthinking is the way to get all the fine details and get all the stuff across, then of course that's what your brain's going to default to.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. It's tricky. Which I guess goes back to our point again of not letting your exams be a reflection of you, because there's too many factors that come into play with how you approach them. I never thought exams, I mean, I can't propose a significantly better way to show your knowledge for a lot of subjects, because a lot of subjects can't be application based where it's like, oh, do a project or something. But I've always been against the, like, traditional exam format for showing what you know, because people know a lot more than they're allowed to demonstrate on a lot of exam formats.
That's why I always appreciated Dr. Rodanis' exams. I mean, like, I've complained about them so much and everyone's like, you never know until you have take a Rodanis exam, and it's true because, I don't know. I mean, now I'm in this stupid class, and it's all multiple choice, and, like, all I wish is to just be given a piece of paper and write everything I know, because I would get much better grades that way.
I agree. I think the exams I've enjoyed the most in my time were ones that are open-ended like that, and then application ones. Like, I really like how Dr. Flores let us present a poster as our final, because I felt like I actually internalized a lot of the stuff that I learned, because it was like I was applying it to something.
I know, you're actually so right, because I still, from neuroscience, I mean, it's obviously so hard to still remember all the detail of all of the whatever.
Of course.
But yeah, I still remember that lab very clearly. It helped a lot with Cogneuro, to be honest. I used that in so many of my discussion posts because of how much I still recall and remember about it.
Just like application and the flexibility of a short answer.
Yeah.
Those are probably like the best or the most fair, I think.
Or just like variety, like how Dr. Luckett had it. You know what I mean? Like, I hated true or false, but I really appreciated that she had and true and false and short answer
so
and
show
free
your
response.
strengths.
And you could also choose like a question or whatever. Like at the end, you could choose.
That's true.
You know, I appreciated that as well because if you know, either like have it be more open-ended or like have variety, you know, that. I'm very nervous for exams, guys, so don't let this podcast fool you. I hate exams, but I'm very excited for my weekend. Let's actually end this podcast with the things we're going to do during finals that are not going to be school stuff. So this weekend I have Emma's birthday party and I'm going to see my aunt and I'm going to watch the Wicked movie with my friend Heidi, hopefully. We'll see. Then Dr. Luckett next Thursday is making Talia and I ribs because I complained that her class got ribs even though we've known her longer. So have we never gotten ribs? But we're going to get ribs.
Yes, we are.
I'm going to read my Frankenstein manga and also read this other book I'm reading, which I don't know the name of. And I am going to go to Boozy Brunch with Talia.
Yes. We are both 21, by the way. We
Yes.
do not condone underage drinking on this podcast.
Seriously, guys, don't underage
Don't do
drink.
that. Very nice. I do not have as much planned. In like a very reverse way, my visual arts last project is something I'm super excited about because it's art.
Oh my god, yeah. When's it due?
It's due in 2 weeks.
What
but
is
it's like
it?
a very intense. Basically, we have to write a whole story about how a place came to be. But we also need to add pages where we cut holes in the pages in very specific ways where you can see the next image underneath. And the hole shows like a certain area that furthers the story.
Which is very detailed.
It's very detailed, but I'm so excited about it because it's very unique. We'll come back to this when it's done. I'll show you guys.
My
what
art
it looks
class
like.
sounds so much cooler than yours. Sorry.
I beg to differ. But we can...
Why are you saying that? Defer. I beg to defer. It's differ.
It sounds more dramatic if I emphasize the differ.
Okay.
I beg to differ.
Okay, guys, actually, this was also relaxing for me.
Oh, yeah, you gotta show your painting.
Guys, look, I've said this so many times. I've never painted before. And I took an art class because I thought it would be fun. And it was fun. And this is my final project.
Which looks incredible.
Can you see, guys? Yeah, and this is me holding it. Like, look how big it is compared to me.
It was it took a lot of time.
Yeah, it took like 20 hours.
Crazy.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, art, really good outlet. And I'm just going to be hanging out with my friends. Like, tonight I'm doing a Secret Santa with my friends. That's going to be really fun. I made a gag gift that I think is going to be really funny.
What friends?
The usual, like Avery and stuff like that. Yeah, just a lot less going on, but I do spend a lot of time, like I said, watching movies, just like hanging out with my roommates, doing dinners together. So I get my moments. So we hope that you guys also get your moments, and if you don't have any planned, you better pencil some into your schedule too.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure when you do those things, you're actually present in them. If you find yourself thinking about the paper or the exam you have to do, reground yourself and make sure you stay in the moment so that you can really take away all that you were supposed to with these relaxing times. With that, always easier said than done, but please try not to overwork yourself. You don't want to end up super ill once the finals are over because you just kept going. You can't enjoy your winter break. And we wish you guys the best of luck on your exams. Yeah. You're going to kill it. just give it all you got, try your best, and that's all you can do.
Seriously.
That's worth being proud of.
Exactly. And exams, like if you do badly, it sucks, feel sad about it, but move on. Don't internalize it.
Mm-mm.
Don't think that it's a reflection of who you are or your capabilities or your intellect. It sucks, but on to the next.
Yeah, and with that, we will probably not see you guys for a while because we're going to be on winter break.
So true.
Living our best lives and hanging out with our family. So.
Yeah, but next semester we're like gonna come back stronger. We also did not have an easy semester. We had a lot of classes, but we have a lot of great ideas for you guys and a lot more time to execute them next semester.
Heavy on the time. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great new year with a lot of new things and exciting opportunities. And with that, we'll see you guys then. Have a fantastic winter break. Thanks for being with us in the earliest part of our journey.
Yeah, seriously.
We really appreciate your support in our beginning episodes, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see you.
Yeah, and keep suggesting any topics. We'll post a couple stories, And yeah, thank you.
All right, so see you in January. Bye.
Bye.